Top 5 things to look out for when you're viewing houses. Structural issues. Oh!
This is what scares most people.
It does. And I would say, as a rule, if you're starting out and you're inexperienced, anything with any major structural issues, just walk away from. It's not going to be worth the risk. You don't know what you're doing. Or get educated, and when you then know what you're doing and you're working with good people and you've got good power teams that you trust that can spot these issues, then absolutely knock yourself out. But in the first instance, have a structural surveyor's report. So home buyers reports, sorry if there's any people who do home buyers reports watching this, but I just think they're a load of crap. They'll tell you that your roof is like near the death when it's got 15 years left, and they like to pick up everything. I don't really care about that because I know what I'm changing in a property anyway. I cared if there's structural issues. But that being said, my first flip that I ever bought had some issues. I had a structural report done and they said it was historic. It was nothing to worry about. However, when we stripped back the property, there were things to worry about, and it was about £5,000 to £7,000 worth of work that I needed to fix that I hadn't budgeted for because this report said everything was fine. And this is why, right, if you're watching these videos thinking, don't need to know any of this, I'm not a builder, or you need to know this stuff because
it's your money.
It is your money, and things do get missed by people. No, I'm not saying that you need to be an expert and rectify everything, but if you have a general idea of these things and how much they cost roughly, you know then that you're safeguarded and safe. Yes, get other opinions. Yes, get the experts involved, but you know you're covered if you have this knowledge yourself, which is something that I didn't have. I relied on the experts, and it cost me a lot of money. So, how do we identify structural issues?
Well, one of the things to remember, picking up on what Lindsay just said, is sometimes you can't you won't identify all the issues until you start ripping a property out. So that's the number one thing. Other things, simple telltale signs are cracks above windows. Very often in properties, the things that start to give way and move a little bit or crack and so on are lintels, whether they're wooden or concrete or just old and deteriorated. You'll see cracks above the window. So that is a structural issue, but it's not out of this world, or it's going to be out of your reach to repair those type of things.
Yeah, and it's not that bad. So now I'd see them and I'd be like, right, it'll cost roughly this much to fix. It's not the end of the world, job done. We'll just account for that in our offer. So something like that, you go for it.
I mean, if you're walking up to a property and you see a big crack up the side of the property or the front of the property and it's leaning a little bit, that's a big sort of concern because...
Run until you know what you're doing.
That could be caused by maybe poor foundations, or there's movement in the property, or even the roof just being too heavy for the property. And that's another story in itself. So that's a real big issue there. Other ones might be whereby, for example, you'll see cracks, little cracks inside the property. They may not be so bad because that can be expansion, contraction, just general wear and tear. You see that when you're decorating your own home. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of filling in the plaster because it cracks, but it's not the end of the world. But having the knowledge to identify these things is very important.
If they tend to be deeper and if they're in ladder shapes, that's when you know you've got something going on, really. Yeah.
Another good sign is if there's a crack on the outside and there's also a crack on the inside, then that is probably a big structural issue or a big concern because it's gone right through the property. Normally, little cracks, if they're not that bad, are just on one part or one side of the property. So that's another good thing to bear in mind as well.
The other thing that I missed as well was somebody had an extension and it started coming away from the house. I didn't know to look. When you've added anything on, I didn't realise that I had to look at them joints really to see that everything was still safe. Why would that happen?
It could be two main reasons. A, the foundations are not good enough and the extension's beginning to sink or move a little bit. Or when they built the extension, they didn't tie it in properly into the house. The old days, they used to tie it in by doing it with the brick and stonework. An easier way now is to use what they call first fix ties. So again, Yes, good. That's a good one, Linz, actually.
I know. I've learned a lot, but you don't learn the hard way, guys. Because again, it can be, depending on what the issue is, it can be all right to fix, or it can mean that it all has to come down, and then that would be a massive expense. We knew somebody recently who they had to knock their extension down, devalued the house absolutely massively, and how much is going to cost to put that back up now? It's just not going to be worth it, guys. So these are the things that you need to be looking out for.
Another one, just quickly, is in the floor. Sometimes if you go into property, peel the carpet back, if you see cracks in a concrete floor or something like that, that could be a sign that there's something going on wrong there with the floor as well. So it could be that the concrete's not thick enough or something, or even damp is causing the floor to crack. So again, that's another one to look out for.
So I hope you've enjoyed these tips, guys. We are actually running an on-site training day. So if you want to see more of this stuff and actually come to houses like this is one of the houses we're going to be bringing you to, come along, click the link below, sign up for the tour where we will take you around various sites so that you can get hands-on learning. Nobody really teaches this stuff, and this is the stuff that's vital really for you to be able to maximize your property investments. And we're also amazing at adding maximum value too. So click the link, come on board, come and see what we've got to offer, come and learn, come armed with your questions.
Lunchbox.
And learn exactly what to look out for, how to fix it. Roy's just thinking about food, it's dinner time.
Biscuits.
And how to add most value to your properties. See you there.
Ciao for now.